click it.
No, I don't want to click it. John.
Well, you're on a meeting, honey, right now.
I know I am. That's what I just said.
There you are.
Neither are you here.
I can see you very well over here on my
We
computer.
are recording. Okay, we are
Now
good
I
to
see
go,
it.
Mr. Saban, if
Okay.
you'd like to start
That's
your
what it should
meeting.
be. All
You
right.
ready?
Yes.
We ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm Paul Saban, Mayor of the town of Penny Farms, Florida, for the calendar year 2020. Today's date is July 31. It is now 9:08 a.m. And to begin, I'm going to read the following. According to the Florida Municipal Officials Manual, although citizens are allowed to attend all meetings of the public body, there is no requirement that citizens be allowed to participate in these meetings. Citizens are permitted to participate at public hearings and legislative meetings, such as the town council meetings. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask Anita Cooper if she would call the roll of the council members.
Okay, Mayor Saban,
Present.
Vice Mayor Ryder,
Here?
Councilmember DeVille is right here in front of me, so I'm going to mark him as present.
Here.
Councilmember Andrews
Here.
and Councilmember Mickey Taylor.
Present.
Thank you. All
Okay.
present.
Before we begin, if you've got a pen or something to write with, I'm going to go through the outline of our whole process from now until the end of. And if you don't get all these dates down, I know that the office will be sure you have them so that we're all on the same page. Today's date, of course, is July 31. It's the town council budget workshop. Also, I need to announce that today, the finance committee members, most of us, of them are present with us on this virtual meeting. And they have also been given the written material when we all received it, who were on the council yesterday. And they will be participating in the discussions that we'll be going through. They're a resource to the council. This is a one time in the year's calendar when the finance committee members participate at this level. Okay, now for the following dates. For finance committee members, I'm calling an additional finance committee meeting for August 10th, which is a week from next Monday. The reason for that is to give the committee members, after today's discussion, ample time as a committee to review what happens today, their thoughts and reactions. And then following that, on the 14th of August, which is a Friday, there is a council workshop. You know, we hold those quarterly.
What time are these, Paul?
So on the 14th
What
is the
time?
workshop. Okay, on the 17th of August
Wait.
is the regular finance committee meeting, which we will also hold. At least we will plan to hold it unless we feel everything is I guess we'll need to hold it in any event. So we want to be sure finance committee only knows that that's your regular committee meeting. Then at the August town council meeting, the finance committee will bring a recommendation to the full council regarding this proposed budget. That's what we do every year, and we will follow that same procedure. The final decision for the town of Penny Farms will be made in two public hearings, one on the 15th of September and one on the 29th. And by the end of that process, the council members will have decided on the new budget all aspects of the new budget for the new fiscal year. I know that's a lot of information, but I just wanted to try to get us all thinking the same way, that this is a process that's carefully planned to be sure we have maximum time for us all to study this, respond according to our position with the town, whether we're on the council or on the committee. And so having said that, I think we're ready to begin our morning, and I'm going to ask, I'm not sure whether David or Anita is going to start off with this table of contents so we can start to review. And I will be asking all the members of the council as we go through each of these sections to be sure that everybody on the council has asked all the questions that they want or need to ask today. You'll ask anyway, but I just want to say I'm going to try to deliberately ask each of you individually, be sure we keep all the participation we need. So I'm not sure. Anita, are you leading this next, or is David?
Actually, I have one comment, and then the town manager can start off with everything.
Okay.
The meeting that you're calling a week from Monday on August 10th, what time do you want to begin that? At 10 a.m. as usual?
10 o'clock, the regular time.
Thank you. I just want that for the record. The
Yep.
Friday regular quarterly workshop is always on at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
And then the 17th is normally at 10 a.m. of August. And then our regular council meeting is at 7 on the 18th of August.
Don't you have an election?
Okay. I'm sorry.
There's an election that day on August 18th.
Oh, we're gonna have to move that then. I totally forgot. Oh my gosh. Okay, I will get back with you all. We'll do a are you all conducive to doing it the following day?
I can do it.
You can't do it.
The 19th
Yep.
at 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said something. Thank you so much. I should have picked up on that already. All right, we're going to change the town council meeting to the 19th. It'll be a Wednesday, the 19th of August at 7 p.m. Thank you, Miss Ryder. Oh, huge, huge. I don't know,
Okay.
you know, I've only been a little busy. I only work with 1 month at a time. I'm in July. Okay, thank you.
Mayor, why are we moving the meeting?
There's an election on the 18th.
The 18th. Everybody go out and vote.
Yes.
I
Are we
missed that.
okay with that?
Thank you.
All right.
I'm good.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you, Miss Ryder. Good catch. Dave, do you want to go over everything here, or you want me just to outline everything and then you take over? What do you want me to do?
Just do it. You can just do a quick outline if you want, and then we'll move to bank accounts.
Okay. I just want everybody to understand this is your budget. This is the starting point for this year's picture for the fiscal year of 2020-2021. So this will begin on October 1st. Whatever's decisions are made today begin on October 1st of this year through September of next year. So this part, your package contains the 3 funds. You have a general fund section, you'll have a water utility section, you'll have a sewer section. And then we have the proposed ordinance that will need to be put in place, as well as the advertisement, and that will be a compilation of all the numbers we're going over today. And then you also have a copy of the updated capital projects list toward the end of your package. There's a capital projects list, and there's also an additional capital projects sheet that Mr. Brower helped design, or pretty much did. It includes everything that's on the original capital project list, but it also includes a 5-year plan. So that will help the Public Works Department too down the road when they have to do their 5-year capital plan down the road, depending on what the town council decides later on today. Please remember, this is the starting point. This is not the finish. And for this meeting, if you will, the first section lists the first area. You want to go over that, Dave? Where I'm at the bank.
Yeah, at your, the first sheet you see there where it says quick reference for your bank accounts. These are 7 bank accounts. And just remember, all of these balances here that you see was a balance as of 6/30/2020. We have to use that in order to put the budget together. So that's all of your bank accounts there.
David, can you hear me? I know you've told me before, what's CDBG again?
It's the Community Development Block Grant.
Right.
You have to have a separate account for that grant.
Right. Okay, any questions on that? Okay. Let's move to the, so we can just briefly talk about it. We'll vote on it naturally in the council meeting, but Anita, you kind of want to go over that council members' stipend?
Okay, at every budget workshop, we usually have a discussion on whether the council members would like to receive their individual stipend or keep it as a council reserve fund to be used at their discretion. The fund is used to attend things like the Florida League of Cities dinners, you go into conferences and or attend any kind of municipal training. Just for this year's been kind of low because normally it's for Florida League of Cities dinners, they're $25 a person. And there's various costs for conferences and education training. So individually, just to remind the council, it pays $107.65 a month. So that equates to $12.92 a year. After taxes, you would get $99.04. The total council reserve fund, if you want to keep it as a line item, is $6,975. And just to let you know, so far this year, $1,374.49 have been used out of that, which is relatively low, but there's been everything's been canceled due to COVID-19. So there's been no dinners or anything like that. So the decision does not require a majority vote. However, this can be an individual choice. So I would like to get an idea what the council members would like to do regarding their stipends. And Mayor Saban, you can ask.
We probably need to go through this individually since we're just giving our intention today. I'll start off, I'd like to leave it in the council reserve fund.
Okay.
I would like to leave it in the council reserve fund.
Okay.
I'm in favor of keeping it in the council reserve fund also.
Same here. Same here.
Okay. Mr. Andrews?
Leave it.
Okay. All right, then that's what's going to be done. That's great. Thank you. I just want to confirm that. That's an important thing. I want to make sure the council members know that is an option. At the budget meeting, when we read it in September, there'll be a separate motion for the town council members to designate their stipends totaling $69.75 to be used as a council reserve fund at their discretion. So just know that that'll be one extra little motion that needs to be done at that meeting, and I'll have that on the agenda. Okay?
All right, we got that out of the way.
Yes.
If you'll go to your tracking revenue, you'll see a yellow sheet, or where it's yellow at the top, and then you'll see a green one right behind it. Anita, won't you start off with the green one first? And explain that one narrow down of what our plans is before that you go to the yellow one.
Okay. If council, I just want to kind of remind you, the reason I have two sheets is because we just started tracking these revenues in January of this year. In general, please understand that in your general fund bank account, you have two sources of revenue. You have, that's where your ad valorem taxes will be contained, and that will be where your building permit revenues are contained. They're both located in your general fund bank account. So when we started this, in just a recap of this fiscal year, we didn't start anything because none of the projects were decided on until March of this year. So I wanted you to see how it's tracked. If you look at the green sheet at the very top, the town on the far left column, the town collected $72,787 in their ad valorem taxes. The next line shows that $32,000 comes off the top because the reason we implemented ad valorem taxes was because we were losing $32,000 in the local option fuel tax from the county. We good so far? Stop me if anybody has any questions.
Done at the same time.
It came off the top, but if you look over to two columns over to your right, you'll see where I added the $32,000 is still in the bank account. It just comes off of what you can spend out of the ad valorem taxes. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so we started with $40,787 for ad valorem. We approved the projects of Passive Park for $10,000, and we did the sliding gate at the water tower building for $2,000, which left at the bottom of that first that first column, $28,787, which will be carried forward to the next fiscal year. Are we good on the ad valorem tax part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The building permit revenues allowed for, we gave you, when we started, it was $281,154. We came across, we did not include the office supplies expense for 3 years. So we took that out as well in the next line down. Are you all following me okay? Am I pointing? Okay. Out of that money, the ADA restrooms were approved for $30,000, the storage room for $25,000, the painting and landscaping, the new website, and if you go down to the bottom, the very last thing, the net revenue for quarters 1, 2, and 3 of this 1920 fiscal year that we're currently in, the building permit revenue after all expenses have been paid made $2,949 so far. Now we have the last quarter to add to that, and that will be at the next, probably the first quarterly workshop in the new fiscal year to show you what was done there. So that leaves a balance of $206,699 to be carried forward into the new year regarding building permit revenues only. Are we good on that?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
What's your question, Tom?
The net revenue, does that include salary of staff that are involved in building permit operations?
Okay, first of all, Miss Ryder and you are sitting too close together where you're getting a lot of feedback on your audio. So your question was, can you say it again? I'm sorry, I couldn't understand it.
Does your net revenue include any expenses for office staff?
Yes,
building permit
it
operations?
includes
Or is that
everything.
anywhere in
That
your
is fully
expenses
burdened
for building
salaries.
permits?
Yes, sir. It includes fully burdened salaries and supplies, everything.
Right, yes.
Yes, sir. It does.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, the balance, the beginning balance in the next column was the bank balance in January was $692,019. You all see that on the furthest column. So the difference between all that is what's left in the operating. That's the center. Are we okay?
Yep.
All right, so then now that we've reviewed this year's expenses of what was done, that's where the yellow comes in. Now, the first thing you need to understand is for purposes of this meeting only, this is not engraved in stone. This was to provide a starting point for the town council and the finance committee. We went with the rollback rate for ad valorem taxes. That can definitely change, but I'm just going to show you. You can see that I gave you the taxable values for
Hello?
millage rates from everything from a 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and a 5. And then the one
I'm in a
that-
Zoom meeting now. Can I
and-
talk to you later?
And then the one listed below that is the rollback rate
Yes.
by itself.
Okay,
Okay, so for purposes of this meeting only, it's ultimately up to the council. But to provide you some kind of information, we're starting with the rollback rate. That can obviously be discussed further in the meeting. So when you look at your yellow sheet, the first thing to your far left is you're bringing forward the 28,787 left over from last year.
Correct.
There's the rollback rate. And that brings your total, the rollback rate was 4.9634. That brings in $75,818. The purpose, just to inform the council, the purpose of a rollback rate is to, the state calculates it, but the purpose of the rollback rate is to get the same amount of money, around the same amount of money that you got the previous year. Not more, not less. It's supposed to be right around where to collect the same amount that you got the previous year. That's what the rollback rate's for. Okay, so if you add the 75,818 to the 28,787, you have 104,605. Okay, so now
Okay.
you're taking $32,000 off the top for operating. Leaves you 72,605. So that's pretty darn close to where we were last year. Okay, when the town manager and I were putting together the budget, we were looking through capital projects and we were trying to come up with things that would help different areas of town and kind of go do different things. We put in for $1,000 for benches. There was a request for walkers along Caroline and Morton to be able to have a bench in between there when they're walking in order to rest for those long stretches when they're going for a walk. There was a request for storm drain covers. Put in a couple areas down by the playground for $3,000.
We got four
Three or
areas down
four.
there,
There you go.
between Booker and Hoffman that we need to do some work on them storm areas that Mr. Andrews had told me about, and he is correct that we need to do something there.
Okay, and then we have some sidewalk railings that need to be replaced on Clark Avenue that go across the creek. Am I right, Dave, on that?
Yes, it's right there on Clark, and some additional work needs to be done to some of that concrete there. And then the next one, I think that everybody's been wanting to try to do something with. I've talked to Mr. Andrews about this on the phone, and as we've been doing this project, we have gone around town and have actually GIS'd every sidewalk that needs to be repaired. We know the length of it, we know the width of it, and we know the cost of it to repair these sidewalks. Some of them can be grinded down, but we do have it in our diamond maps now. It has been satellite and has taken. So I'm suggesting that we throw $10,000. Anita, I just got through going over all of the building permit stuff and what we're proposing. So that you know where we're at. All right, let's move to the general fund. The beginning balance is $460,087. Now
Dave,
I want to
if I could
stop
ask-
here just for a moment.
If you could hear me, I need you to stop for
We
a
can't
minute.
hear you.
Okay, hang on. Is everybody connected back on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
I need you to hold on 1 second because I have a problem over here. So,
Can't hear you.
you can't hear me? That's because the internet went out.
No, I just wanted to tell you.
Yes, sir, thank you. I apologize. Technical difficulties, for sure.
I think you're doing well. You haven't done it at all.
Can I say something in the pause? I have a
Yeah.
question. On the building permit, we'll have a little bit more income August through September, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we're good to go, Mr. Saban. I'm so sorry. And Dave, I
All right,
just,
Anita, just so you know where I'm at, I've already gone through the building permits. I've already gone through the general fund line item, but what I want to add on this general fund line item, where you see it comes down to 493.87, and you'll see it, I just want to interject this, but you'll see it on the capital list. We really need to buy a truck for the town. Now, we've been
Another
talking
truck?
about this for
A
the last
service
couple
truck.
of years. And, but we need to buy a new, and I'm gonna hold a piece of paper up so that you guys can kind of see the kind of truck that I'm talking about. Can everybody see this?
lift it up higher. There you go.
With a crane on. We pull our own pumps when they get stopped up. We will not have to hire an outside back on top of it where we put some pipe fittings, the stuff we need now. Just a tremendous use to the town. Now there's some parts on the tailgate, we have pumps. We need to be where we can do that ourselves. And we've got the new employee that I hired, Josh. He's working out just great. I know it's been early yet. It's not been 90 days yet, but I don't know if everybody's met him or not. But we need to get a truck for our town. So I'm recommending to you that we just buy that truck straight out of the general fund, just like the year that we bought the dump truck that we have in the back. We won't use ad valorem tax for this. We'll just buy it straight out of the general. So that's basically what it takes for us to operate for the year. So my recommendation is to put 65,000. I got a quote for $55,000 in there. Also to where we can buy some things to go on that truck to go with it. So I've got a couple different quotes, but when you see your capital list, I just want to interject. Anita, if you want to go ahead and do the general fund bank balances, that's where we are now. If you want to start back up.
Internet service again? Yeah, that'd be great. The general fund was $696,573. The rollback rate again, 1,818, which gives you a different total. Take all those expenditures that were mentioned, and keep in mind the council members can add to that. They could change it. They could do whatever they want. This was just starting to do this budget. We had to do something. 703,391 is a working balance. Balance left as of the June 30th bank statement plus on paper, adding what you're going to get for ad valorem taxes, taking out the projects, that is your working balance. So,
Okay, I want to interject one more thing here on this. You know how we went over that first column over there where it says 2020 ad valorem tax revenue? And if you go all the way down to the bottom where it says the 53,605, my recommendation only is we put in our account the $28,000 from ad valorem tax last year, if you remember. We left it alone, we didn't spend that. I'm recommending that we leave this 53,605 in that account and not do any more projects. The reason I'm asking you or suggesting it to you is these streets. It's coming where we're gonna have to do something here pretty soon. We got one on Dwight Street that we've been talking about for several years that the tree is pushing up. Caroline, basically from Clark Avenue all the way down to Ott. The stones are literally coming up on that street, and that is going to have to be re-blacktop. The quote that we got for that is somewhere around $112,000. So only is suggesting again to the council people is I would leave that valorem money in there again and try to get that built up so that we can start doing some of these streets that need to be repaired. You know, if this gets approved, you can see we already started on the sidewalk issue. That was one of Mr. Andrews' concerns of safety and stuff. So we've already started on that. We've already got that. Just a suggestion only, and we can move forward from here. But I just wanted to interject that.
Okay, we're finishing up with section 1. Anybody on the council wish to?
I have a question. Yes, I have a question, please. David, for David.
Okay.
Yeah, when I first read that you were talking about the money for benches, and I was thinking the benches that we have pulled out of the passive park. So that cost is not something that's involved in here. Those are automatically going to be taken care of.
Yes, the ones in passive parks are fine. They just need to be cleaned up. Okay. And we're in the process. Suggest. We looked at everything that was turned in that people would like to see, and I tried to do a broad overview of the whole complete town, of fixing some areas where some of our ad valorem tax work, some of our residents could see that we're doing something, you know, in the town with their money.
That's fine. I just wanted to be sure that both sets of benches were covered in some way. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Not hearing any. Good.
I know the last time we had discussed streets, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cooper, on parts of the either piping or something. Can you elaborate on that, or did we discuss that before about streets?
Yeah, we've brought up some of it. You know, we was doing the locates and finding where everything went. And I know we talked about that we really didn't want to do the restriping until we got the paving done first. I believe Mr. Andrews is what we had discussed. Am I correct?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yes,
anybody else on the council? Any other questions?
Okay, Anita, are you ready? I can do it, and I'll interject things as we come through there, if you don't mind me.
Okay, the first section is your general fund. It's been a very interesting year, fiscal year, challenging to come up with a budget based on the unknown for the new fiscal year. So as I go through these, you could see last year's budget, and you can see this year's budget, and then the third column shows the increase or decrease from last year. So quickly, again, this is based for ad valorem taxes for fiscal year 2021. This is based on the rollback rate. These numbers will change if the council changes their mind, whatever they choose to put there. But at this point, we're starting with that. That's $75,818. The difference between last year and this year is $3,031. Okay, I wanted to account for the 28 we're keeping from last year, so there you have it. Your first local option fuel tax, we're expecting 31,000, so we'll be losing 6,900 of that this year. Discretionary surtax, we'll be getting 124. We're losing 4,000 from last year. Your propane or your utility service tax, we're gaining $400 for $52,000 in revenue this year. Your propane in utility service tax, we're going to be losing $1,500 from that this new fiscal year, based on averages and projections. Your community service tax, which is a state revenue, that's the only state revenue that's going to increase. We're expecting $13,000 in revenue from that, for an increase of $3,400. Building permit fees, according to the main contractor who does a lot of work for PRC and everything else, there's not going to be a whole lot of new construction, so we lowered that down to $7,500 for the new year, which is a decrease of $2,500. The franchise fees for Florida Power and Light electricity will stay the same. State surcharges will stay the same. We're going to also, town manager can elaborate on this a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to also go for a state grant for the playground park. There was several things on the capital projects list that were suggested by residents.
Let me comment on that. When we asked all the residents and stuff, had the list and we reviewed these and we tried to fit them in. There's talk about new swing sets, talking about the horses down there painted, talk about the fence area. There's talk about screening in the pavilion and stuff down there. So I've asked Kathy, and I think it's that time now, if I'm not mistaken. I've asked her to see if we can get another FERDAP grant.
It's in the fall.
To where we can go down there and update some things and possibly put some new things out for the kids.
So that's a potential $50,000 state grant. The state revenue sharing is where we're going to lose a lot, and this is all based on COVID. We're expecting $41,365. That's a loss of $9,935 for the year. The local government half-cent sales tax will remain the same, based on the projections they've given me. The lighting and traffic signal, we gained a couple $100 on each one of those contracts this year, so we're expecting $8,000 in those for an increase of $400. And the local government museum grant is $30,000. We asked for $40,000 last year, so we didn't get $10,000. So it's going to be $30,000.
I can comment on that.
Yep.
Let me fill them in where we're at on that. I've signed the contract on that. That is all done. They needed one more piece of paper on the town letterhead to state that we're ready to start. And so I sent that in. And so we should be getting a $30,000 check.
Just came in. It just came in as we're talking.
Oh, it did come in.
This is a 30.
All
I was wondering
right.
why I was getting this check. So.
Okay, wonderful.
Just came in.
So anyway, it's going to probably cost to do that museum about $47,000 is what we're figuring. So we have like $2,600 in that bank account for the museum. So we're kind of short about $13,000, I say. So I've met with Lowe's up in Middleburg, and it really, really looks good. So we're hoping to raise the rest of the money in in-kind services to get that project done. That's been in our bucket list for ever since I've been here. So I can't believe that the check finally got here
just
today.
got here.
So, another big achievement. So I'm really looking forward to getting the museum open. Okay, go ahead, Anita.
Okay, annual fire inspections will remain the same. Your CDBG stormwater started out at $600,000. we've paid out 88,000. So this year's budget, there's only 512 going to be in the budget for that. Your other physical environment is your DOT mowing, miscellaneous mowing. We gained $500 on that from last year. So everything else has remained the same. The only other significant thing is our interest income. Remember, we were so excited to get interest income finally. Last year we predicted 8,500 and then COVID-19 hit and our interest rates have plummeted. So we're expecting only 2,400 this year, so for a loss of $6,100 that was normally going to be there. The rest is contributions, private donations, same. Business license fee, the same. And other miscellaneous revenues, which you never know what those are, is the same as last year as well. If you look at the total budget, is your total income coming in is $1,075,970, and for a total increase, we actually had a decrease of $33,204 in income this year. So that's a huge difference from last year, and you can
Just
blame
in
it on
the
COVID.
state revenue, just in the state revenue alone, we've lost $20,835. That's just state revenue.
Yes,
But the
and
total loss is $33,204. But
Yeah.
if I could go back up, Anita, if I could interrupt you a minute, go
Yep.
back up to the CDBG grant,
Mhm.
stormwater. Also wanted to throw in there that I have the contract on my desk, like we got an additional $273,000 from St. John's Water Management, and so we'll be signing that contract probably around September 22nd, 23rd, because their budget, they can't release any money to October the 1st. So that's why we can't start the stormwater project till after October 31st, and it should be going out to bid here pretty soon. But I just wanted you to know we did get an additional $273,000 to go with this stormwater project to help us with that. So I want to make sure you was aware of it.
Okay, any questions from council members or committee members on this first part, section 2? Okay.
Okay, now you've got the expenses. Do you want to do that, Dave?
Oh, you go ahead and walk through it, go ahead. I'll interject as you go.
Okay, this is general fund. Again, we just got finished with the income. So for the expenditures for the general fund, first line item is the council reserve fund, which we now know you want to keep it as the same. So let me just write this down. Okay. When we're going through, the first thing starts with executive salaries. This budget of expenditures includes salary increases, and this includes everything. So at this point, so the first thing is an increase for town manager salary. Is now for the 2021 budget will be $57,977. The payroll tax for that has increased $334. You'll see the pension and the health insurance, the executive salary section. Regular salaries and wages. When you see town clerk and the administration assistant salaries, Wendy's, just so you know, is not being overlooked, but her salary is in the water and the sewer when we get there. So don't think we're forgetting anybody. Let's see. You'll see the increase there. The town clerk, $46,700. The administrative assistant, $21,935. And then naturally the payroll taxes and the pension and the health insurance The health insurance increased by 12%. So you can see the increases there.
But on the health insurance, so yes, it increased, but also saved a tremendous amount of money, you know, when I got off of it, which Alex now is retired, so that saved a tremendous amount of money on the insurance right there.
Right, and you'll see with the younger crew that we have now has saved significantly in health insurance too. Workers' compensation
There's a cost to getting old.
Tell us about it.
There's a cost to it.
Workers' compensation increased by 4%. That's an extra $285 coming out of the regular salaries. When you talk about your finance and administration, operating expenses, your professional services have stayed the same. We expect to do the same. The accounting and the auditing, we're going to keep the same because we are accounting for our annual audit, as well as this will probably be the last time that the auditor we'll have to pay him a little bit extra to help us make sure we're following the trim process correctly with the rollback rate or whatever rate we decide on. So could come down a little bit next year, but we're going to keep it the same for this year. Telephone and internet connections, you can we're going to reduce that by $700. Repair and maintenance, we're keeping the same. Legal ads, we're keeping the same. Office expenses, which is your bank checks, your equipment, those kind of things. 15, we're keeping those the same. Dues and subscriptions, those are the same. Education and training, we're keeping that the same. $300. Okay, you go to page 2.
Question.
Yes.
How did you manage to cut price on telephone and internet? Everybody else is going up.
We just averaged out our bills, and we've been. I'm in the process of renewing our.
These are
annual
budgeted numbers. You have to remember.
Yes, but
okay.
we
Right.
redo our contracts every year,
But
and by the end of the year
you're
they
able
go
to cut
up a little bit, and then at the end we renew, and they give us a break again
But if I
for
could,
the following year.
Okay.
but if I could add to that too, Ms. Mickey, so that you're aware, for the first time ever, I was able to get a name from Clay County of a person. If you've ever dealt with AT&T, as you know, it's a chore. So
Right.
I now have a regional manager's name that I've talked to a couple times now, and he's also going to come by and sit down with us, with Anita and I, to see if we actually, there's ways that we could cut costs a little bit more.
I was trying to figure out, because we're going more into web with the website and things, and I was just interested in how you were making that adjustment.
Yep.
A lot of the new web-based meetings and all of that, we had our one-time expenses this fiscal is when it hit us. It won't be in the next fiscal year.
We're not having to pay to overlook the website anymore?
We have a person, we've already signed that contract. It's a 5-year contract.
Right.
Okay.
So yes, we
Thank
have
you.
somebody that overlooks it.
Okay.
Left off legal. I'm on page 2 now. Any questions on the first page by any chance?
None from me.
Okay.
No.
Page 2, we're going to start legal services. Town attorney agreed to stay on as she is with her semi-retirement. Her amount, we're keeping it the same. She has done well with us on that. When we get to the grant writer salary, I need to make a note real quick.
This is one, Mr. Saban, that you and I talked about.
When we did the grant writer salary, I'm
You'll
sorry,
see where we increase that.
we doubled the grant writer salary. She was making, you can see what she made last year. We're doubling it this year. So that includes that
It's like
expense.
$200.
It's $200 a
Like
paycheck.
$200 a month now, and we raised it to $400 a month, and I still think she does an awful lot of work for that.
Yes, she does.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, the next is general government expenses. We have postage and freight, we're keeping the same. Utilities expense, water and electric, we're keeping the same. Your rental and leases for the copier is the same. Your insurance, the property increased by 4%, so that's an additional $251. Emergency plan, we always keep $1,000 in there for anything we might need. This fiscal year, you'll see a few more expenses in there for masks and hand sanitizer and things like that due to COVID-19. Office supplies, we're going to keep the same. Okay, now your capital expenditure section is, you can't really compare last year to this year because you have different projects. So, and they vary in the amounts that those are. But I still did the comparison from last year. So, but if you'll look on the increase or decrease, I put the NA next to them because you really can't add those to the additions or subtractions because they're so different. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. For capital outlay, unrestricted capital, that $23,898 is the last thing computed in a general fund when you're doing the budget. All the other expenses are put in first. Whatever is left gets put in that line item.
So it
Just so
depends
you know.
on what the change is, when it comes to the final budget before you
don't
actually
know.
get that number.
And this number will change if the ad valorem tax rate changes or anything else, any projects change, that number will change as well. So we have $2,600 in the next line item. That is restricted donations that we got for the historic museum. We can only use that for the museum, but it will stay the same. Then we listed out the ad valorem tax projects that we talked about in the tracking, and then the building permit revenue projects that we talked about in the tracking. Do you all see those? The park benches, the storm drain covers, sidewalk railings, sidewalk repairs, the town hall front office renovation, and the town hall back hallway that the town manager had mentioned earlier. All those are there, taken into consideration. The next section are grants. The stormwater one again, because that's going to be going on through the next fiscal year. The playground park grant and the historical museum grant. Those are the three that we have going on at this time. We're always applying and we're always looking, so we got to wait for state legislative meetings and the appropriations, and we have to follow those dates when they become open to go for again. All right, we're on page 3. Was everything okay on page 2 for everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right, page
Yes.
3. We're on protective inspections. These are our permit inspections and our plan reviews. Naturally, if we're not expecting that many permits, I'm not expecting that much expenses for it either. So we cut those back, and we're going to decrease that by $3,000 this year. And the state surcharge fees that get paid out, we're going to leave the same. Public works salaries. This is where you're going to see some significant savings for having a younger crew and a newer crew. The first one listed is Josh. We're saving in the, now let me go back for just a moment. Mickey reminds you, and the finance committee is aware of it, but we have Josh, Tyler, and Trevor in the back, and Wendy, that are, their salaries are split, which means that Wendy's salaries are going to be coming into the general fund later. They're in the water and the sewer, but the boys, for the purposes of the general fund, Josh is 20% in public works. He'll be 40% in water, 40% in sewer. That totals 100% of his salary. Does that make sense? Right now we're talking about the general fund. It will be the same thing for Tyler. Tyler is 75% in the general fund, 25% in the water utility fund. That's 100% of his salary accounted for. Trevor is 75% in the general fund and 25% in the water utility fund. So we are accounting for fully burdened salaries here, but right now we're talking about what is located in the general fund. Does that make sense? That's why I put the little percentages next to it, so
Yes.
everybody can. Okay, good. All right, so you see, Josh, we're gonna save $2,632. Tyler, he's gonna be $24,450, and that's a decrease in salary for that position for $9,945. Trevor, who is now our long-term employee out back, is he's at $24,450, and he had an increase, a slight increase. The two new, Josh and Tyler, the two new guys have not even reached their 90 days yet. So, but their salaries for next year have already been determined. We're fully expecting them to reach their 90 days and continue on. Payroll tax is all three of those combined. It'll be a little less. The pension will be a little less. They're not starting, they're not eligible. The new employees are not eligible. Trevor is eligible now. Health insurance will be less, but you have a younger crew, so it's not quite as expensive. And then again, the workers' compensation cost is split between the public works salaries and the administrative salaries. So that increased again by 4% for an extra $285. When you go to public works operating expenses, you have telephone expense. We're adding $800 to that. You can't do anything about these mobile phones and iPads and things like that. It's I just can't control that cost. I'm doing my best, but we're doing.
Well, when we talk to Kevin, the regional guy that's going to come see us,
see what we can do about that. Yeah. Utilities expense is all the lights, the street lights in town, everything. We're keeping the same. The insurance for the autos and the trucks, that increased by 4%, so it's an extra $59. We've got that listed there. Repair and maintenance for public works, we kept it the same as last year. The operating supplies, we kept the same. The fuel, based on an average, we lowered it $1,000. Materials and equipment we're keeping the same, and training and certification for the public works we're keeping the same. When it comes to community parks and recreation, we have a utility expense we're going to keep the same. The general liability is located in this section for all the parks and public streets and things like that. That increased by 4%. So you see the new total of $13,463. It's an additional $518 in the next year. Repair and maintenance of the park. This is one area that we added $500 to.
That's a good thing.
For little things that are can always pop up. We added an extra $500 there. And special events we kept the same. And there's only two more items on the next page that I just want to address real quick, and then we'll be done with the general fund. The next two items on page 4, we have an interfund transfer outline item to the water and one for the wastewater sewer. In the event of an emergency and we have to grab something, highly unlikely, and I don't want to jinx us, but that is the place that I would put those line items for. So your total expenses are $1,075,970, which matches your income coming in. Your income has to match your expenses. And it also shows at the end, you have a decrease in our total budget from last year of $85,000.30. So I think that says a lot. We try very hard to watch everything. We still managed to do that, include some new projects. I think we did pretty good on that. So, any questions on the general fund?
Any council members?
Miss Susan. Yeah, it's got a question. Any council members?
Quick question.
Yes.
Quick question on 54-14-500, the insurance on the autos, is that gonna change if we purchase the new truck? Is that included?
It is not included.
Yes, it will change just a little bit.
It will change a little bit, but it is not included in that cost right now.
Correct.
Any other questions?
No questions.
Hearing none, then let's proceed to the next section.
The general fund is the hardest one. It's the longest one and it's the hardest one. So we're just about home free here. So
All right, we're in the water utility data.
okay. All right, for the water utility revenue. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna write this down. Okay. For the water utility revenue, dollars. And then your normal late charges, disconnect fees, reconnect fees. We always put $100 in there. We never know what those are. They vary from year to year. And we do that every year. We always allow for 2 new setup fees. If we do have 2 new construction areas, we allow for 2. So that is the same. And we allow for 2 new account fees, 2 new water accounts a year. We try to stay very conservative. We can anticipate more, but we just want to stay at the 2. Solid waste revenues, we're going to keep the same for the garbage. Late charges is the same. Special pickup charges, if you remember, Town Council, we just changed that from $30 to $50 a pickup. So we just did one. That's too random to predict more than that. So that was an increase of the $20 for the new fiscal year. Solid waste, your late notice fees are the same. That goes up and down. And your solid waste franchise fee, because the construction is going down, your big dumpsters and everything are going to go down too. So we took that into consideration.
Not doing as many polls.
And we dropped that to $10,200 for $800 less this year in revenue from that. Interest earned is going to drop significantly again. We anticipated a little bit more and got burned about halfway through the year, so we're going way low on that. So you can see what we're expecting for those. And if you remember correctly, also we always do $20,000 of contingency reserves for the water, and you'll see that again when we go to the sewer. That money comes directly out of the utility reserve bank account. But we put $20,000 when we budget. We put $20,000 in the water utility and $20,000 in the wastewater sewer. In the event of an immediate emergency, it's approved for that. Now, if it's anything more than that, we'll be having a special town council meeting. We'll figure out what we're going to have to do, but that's the norm. So for our total water utility revenues, we're expecting $145,395, an increase of $9,955 for the. So that's where we're at on that. Any questions?
Not hearing any. If
Okay.
not, then we'll proceed to,
Okay, now we could do the water utility expenditures. Dave, tell me when you want to jump in.
Go ahead, go
Okay.
ahead, I'm right here.
Okay,
just got
and
it.
for everybody's knowledge, the only people online right now are the council and the finance committee. All right,
Okay,
for the water utility expenditures, this is where you'll see Wendy's 50%. This shows her.
Anita, before you get started on this here, I got something that I want to tell council about the water. Everybody knows that we have worked very, very close with Florida Rural Water Association.
Oh, somebody's too close.
And I got a letter in the mail that the town of Penny Farms has won the small best water system in the state of Florida this year.
Wow.
Yay!
Yay!
They will be coming here. Unfortunately, they usually have a huge convention over in Daytona, but with the virus going on, they're not going to do it. So unfortunately, they are getting a plaque made for us, and they will be coming by here to take a picture.
And we'll be in the
that we
magazine.
won that award. So I'm really excited about that for our town to get picked for that with all of the improvements and everything we've done. So go ahead, Anita. I just wanted to make sure that.
Congratulations.
Yay, we're so
Yay.
excited. That was a huge, huge deal. I've been trying for that for the last 2 years, and I just got through
I
finally.
think we need to put a big sign up on our tank up there or something. Big rose or something.
Did a lot of changes, so it's been good changes.
Definitely need an article for Penny for your thoughts. So
Yes.
everybody will know that we have great water.
For sure. All right.
Okay, Anita, you can proceed.
Okay. The first person listed is for water utility salaries is Wendy. 15,600. She did get an increase. So an additional 365. I see a typo that I did on your sheets. Instead of Tracy, that should say Josh on the next line. 40%. You can see his 40% of his salary there, and the significant decrease that we're getting from that. Trevor is in here too because he helps out with garbage and whatever water we need. So we put a portion of his salary in here. He gets a little bit of an increase. Payroll taxes and pension and health insurance for everybody listed in the salaries combined is those totals. So they were still less than last year. In your water operating expenses, professional services, we jumped it up. And there's a reason for that. Why did we jump that up, Dave? That much. We added $3,000.
I know that we got
No, there's a reason.
I know that we have US Water doing our work down there at the tower and everything now too, so I know that's on there.
Yes, but we had a big lab or something coming in. Let's see. There's a reason for that. I'm sorry.
That's okay, we can dig into that later.
can I interrupt and ask a question,
Yes.
please? I have no reason to doubt, but what we've done is what we need to do, but the salaries that we started our new maintenance people at, you pointed out there's a significant benefit to us on our budget because they're younger and they start at a lower level.
Correct.
I just want to ask a general question. I'm sure we looked into it, that we started sufficiently high enough so that we don't run the risk, and you never know this, of not being competitive enough with our competition to be able that we don't lose somebody just over the starting
Right.
salary.
I think we're in good shape there, Mr. Saban. I've did a lot of places, Palaca's, Keystone. A lot of them are a lot higher in some of the areas, but I feel like that we're at a competitive rate, and I feel like that we're okay at this point.
Okay, just wanted to check.
And because of the
Just
rate,
a-
I can
Wait, Mr.
attest to, because of the rate that we did offer them to start at, we got better quality people.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a quick question.
Yes,
Our
sir.
research is good, but the only question I would ask and be concerned is, are we using the WDR for our employees' salaries?
What do you mean WDR? Can you explain yourself?
Sure. The state of Florida puts out a WDR, which is a wage determination rate for every skill set that's out there. And when you go in there, you put your zip code, it'll tell you what particular skill set and the salary range is. And I think that's a safe way to go to make sure we're being competitive and fair to the employee, because the state determines it. Now, that's just the minimum. If you want to go up, that's up to the town how we do it. But that's what they put out every year. And also they put in, I'm sure you're aware of, is, health and welfare and those things, how they increase also in the WDR to make sure we are competitive and taking care of our employees at a bare minimum.
We'll
What
take
did
a look
you-
at that, Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Andrews, what does WDR stand for again?
Wage determination rate.
Wage determination rate.
Sounds like a good plan. I have a question.
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to know, and I'm sure you guys have figured it out, what is the total salary for all of the employees for the town of Penny Farm?
I have that number.
I mean, I could go through and put the 20% here and the.
I think she's already got it.
I have it. That's how I have to do the salaries first before I can do anything else. Here they are. For the employees only. Are you talking including insurance, payroll taxes, everything, Ms. Ryder, or just their salary?
Just their
I'm
salary.
sure these numbers cover both.
Okay, just their salary is, and that includes the town council, 272,722.
122.
Mm-hmm.
Not half enough.
It was 17,000 less, $17,028.50 less than last year,
Amazing.
fiscal year. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Now fully burdened, that's a different story.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
I'm glad Mr. Andrews pointed out this other benchmark thing we're gonna check,
8.
because we all know that have worked in fields where we hire people, that you get good people, you want to be sure you're competitive enough so they're going to stay with you if everything else is working right, because we know the process we had to go to make these good hires, and I'm completely supportive of what we've done. I just think it's going to be good to check that benchmark and be sure that we're where we need to be.
Absolutely.
I can tell you we started this last batch of rounds and we were looking for them. We started with a higher rate than we normally would have done, and we got a much better group of people to choose from. So that was true. Okay. Professional services.
Now, may I ask one more question, please?
Yes.
How many of our employees, including front staff and everything, actually live in Penny Farms?
We don't like we have anybody
We don't
that
have
actually
anybody.
lives in Penny Farms.
Okay, so we don't have any, none of our residents in the town actually working there.
No.
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
Kathy
Well,
Parrott.
Oh, Kathy
yeah,
Parrott,
Kathy
you're
and-
right, you're right, yes, the grant writer.
Kathy and town council members and stuff. Yeah,
That's
okay.
right.
All right. Thank you.
And the three of us, so they're four.
No, 6. Your final count.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So 6.
All right, so your water operating expenses, professional services increased by 3. We're keeping our accounting and auditing the same. The water tower maintenance, we're keeping the same. There were no increases there. Freight and postage, we upped a lot. Because we do, if we do any kind of, we're doing a lot of certified letters, and we're doing a lot of extra stamps. We're sending a lot of things out now to make sure everybody gets it. So we upped that 650. The utilities, we went up 500 on those. The repair and maintenance, we went up 600 on that. We seem to be running into a few more repairs here and there. Machinery and equipment, we lowered by 200. Labs, we increased by 250 because we're expecting, that's the one that we're expecting a bigger, larger lab charge for.
One of those.
Office supplies is chlorine, our chlorine and different things that we need for PVC joints, glue, whatever they need for that. Operating expenses, the new meters and components, we kept the same. Dues and membership, we dropped down to 500 because the only membership we want is the Florida Rural, with the water, related to the water, is the Florida Rural Water membership. So we dropped that. $325. Education and certification, we upped that because we would like to get, if the town manager wants to elaborate, we want to get the Josh certified, so
I'm
it's
gonna
going to
get
cost
Josh certified where he's a water
operator.
operator also here in town.
And then contingency reserves, we showed it in the income, we have to show it in the expenses. The solid waste salary, we're labeling Tyler, taking that spot instead of Alex. That I know that's a typo, I didn't change that. You'll see his 25% of his salary, and the difference from last year was $3,315. And the payroll, tax, pension, and health insurance that are anticipated are all lower than last year for that grouping. Okay, and then on page 2, we continue with solid waste operating expenses. That's repair and maintenance on the dump truck or whatever we need. We kept that the same because we're maintaining that as very well. And then the landfill disposal charges, we went up $1,000 in anticipation of their charges going up, as well as we've been doing a lot more work in the parks and stuff and whatever we're going to do. So we added to that. So and then you have interfund transfers out. Once you figured your expenditures, whatever you had left, we're going to put in the reserves, the utility reserves. So we're going to put $23,581 in the utility reserve out of the water fund this year. So each month we're going to put $1,965.08 in the water reserve.
The same process as we're doing now, out of water and sewer, put it in the reserves. But it all depends on, a lot of it's all depends on what that ad valorem number is going to be, whether you put that much in there or not.
No, that's the general fund, Dave.
Yeah, that's general fund. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I want to report to the council. This is the first year we hit $100,000 in the utility reserve. It took us 5 years to do it, but we're at $100,000. So
it took about 6 years.
yeah, but we started it about a year into it, so it took 5 years to get that much money. So that tells you how much you have to save and do. So I think that's really cool. I like the $100,000 mark. So your total budget for the water utility for the expenditures is $145,395, matches what we're getting in for income. You've added that in expenses from last year. So, any questions on the water utility?
Not hearing any. Anybody?
Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, our last fund that we're gonna go over is the wastewater sewer. We're anticipating a little bit of a loss, about the same. We did an average. We're probably going to be about $500 less, but it's going to be about the same as last year, including late charges, late notice fees. When you do water setups, you also have to do sewer setups. So we're anticipating 2 of those. And then you'll see in the revenues where we had the state grant wastewater sewer, that was last year's. I just stuck that in there because we're comparing last year's to this year. So it has no bearing on this year's budget at all. That project has been completely done. Interest earned, again, we're dropping significantly there in revenue. And we're putting in the contingency reserves for the water, or for the sewer, of $20,000. So your total income for the wastewater sewer portion is $205,170. We're gonna lose, it's about $1,130 less than last year for income. Okay. Now we're on wastewater sewer expenditures. Okay, here's Wendy's other 50% of her salary, excuse me. And she got her little increase in there, $365. Josh's salary, 40% is listed there. The payroll
I'll
tax.
think about her every time I flush the toilet.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll be glad to hear that.
I'm paying her.
How about turning on your sink water?
So either payroll taxes, pension, and health insurance for both of those employees are what's listed next, and it shows the difference. The wastewater sewer operating expenses, professional services, we upped that too. We've had a lot of clogs. Yeah. I don't know why I got this little itch. We've had a lot of clogs, and we added $1,300 to it, so we changed that to $2,500 in expenses this year. The auditing will stay the same. Telephone's going up just a little bit. That's the emergency line at the master lift station. Just for the council members, in the event the power goes out. We have an alarm system on the master lift station, so when it starts rising and it goes off, it automatically calls the town manager. So we're aware of it. We're not left in the dark, so to speak.
That's a good thing. That's a good
Rate
thing.
and postage, we upped that too for, we found out this year when we were ordering some things, you paid a lot for freight. We didn't compensate for that last year, so we added it this year. Utilities for the lift stations are staying the same. Repair and maintenance, we kept the same. Machinery and equipment, we kept the same. Dave and I laughed about CCUA. We added $5,000 just because we were worried about the whole COVID year being kind of weird. It was just like, we'll add $5,000 there just in case of an emergency or hurricane season's coming and all of that. So
but you have to understand, I know people don't sit around and think about this, but when everybody's home all the time, our sewer goes up.
Yes.
So it's been on the rise through this virus thing. So, but a lot of people don't think of it that way. So we had to put a little extra in there.
Office supplies, we increased by $500. The operating supplies, we kept the same. And then you have your contingency reserves of $20,000. And then You could skip the next section for the state grant wastewater sewer. I just left that in there from last year. And then you have your interfund transfers out. In the sewer is where your DEP bank account, your wastewater restricted bank account is for your DEP payment. That is our debt service. That's the loan that the state revolving loan that the town owes for. That does not change. That's what we pay every year. So that will stay the same. So once all of those expenditures were in, we had $11,158 left, and that's going into the water utility reserve from the sewer. It's a little bit less than last year, but we'll be putting $929 a month from the sewer will go into that reserve. And just so you know, if the budget stays, well, the water and the sewer budget is not affected by the general fund. If we agree to the budget that we've just explained to you, you'll put another $34,739 in our utility reserve this year.
Between the two.
Between the two of them. So that'd be great. So that is it for the sewer. Sewer, it gets smaller and smaller. Wait. The line items. So your next section is the ordinance.
Could I ask, I
Yes.
need to ask another one of these, missed something. I know that I must have missed it and I don't see it here. We talked about needing a new truck. Where is that in here? Where did I miss it?
It's not. It's something that needs to be discussed, and it
Okay,
needs,
so
that would be,
that isn't in here. Okay.
yes, that would be a direct
In the capital.
one-time payment cost straight out of the general funds. Not out of the
Okay.
water, the sewer, any of that. It'd be straight out of the general fund.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's not listed on here because it was something that, needs to be discussed and determined.
Yep.
Let me just finish with this paperwork and then discussion can happen when you're done. The ordinance is just a combination. If you notice on all your little pages, you see those little notations I have, like BPS, all my little abbreviations at the bottom. This is what comprises this ordinance. It's just the combination of the different sections. So for an ordinance, we have to approve general fund, the water, and the sewer, and this is what it's going to look like. And that's all that ordinance is. That's the ordinance. We're going to have a first and a second reading based on those numbers and that have been presented today. Those
Just
numbers
approving
can
the budget.
change. The next piece of paper you have is the legal ad that's going to go in the newspaper. It's the same thing as the ordinance. It lists out our general fund, utility fund, and sewer fund revenue and expenditures. The only thing that's different this year about the ad is it's going to all be virtual meetings. Virtual public hearings, virtual meetings. And I included information to go to the website in order to get the meeting information and be able to participate that way. And then at the back of your package, you have this capital projects list, this long one that you normally have seen. And this is where we pulled a lot of the projects from, this in the back. And then you also have, it was 11 by 17 because there's a lot of information. It's too small to read for 11 by 14. So then you have this
Now, Mickey, you'll be able to see your
capital
truck. that you're
projects
looking at.
list that we put together, that the Bill Brower and I put together for everything. Lists the same thing, but it also includes a 5-year plan. And it also includes other columns such as, where the money's coming from. Is it out of cash reserves? Are we borrowing it? Is there a grant? This is a fantastic report in my opinion. Was it a grant? Was it something shared between the town, PRC, ad valorem tax? Did we, and it's for each fund. He has those items listed. So that is the end of your package, but now you have to have discussion on This is what was presented and to start with for you.
I'd like to come back to an issue first. It has to do with the current state of our pandemic and virtual meetings. When we get to the 2 sessions in September where we have public hearing, have we given any thought, should we give any thought to attempting, and I'm not advocating, but I'll put it on the table.
Oh, something bad's happening. Hold on. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Saban. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm not advocating, but I raise the issue. Should we consider?
Hold on.
It's not working.
Tom Ryder, can you mute yourself for a minute? I don't want to mute you on this end. I want to mute you to do it.
Okay.
Well, I didn't say go away. Oh, okay, you're muted. You didn't have to leave, but I see you.
Oh, you said leave.
No, just mute. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Okay, Mr. Saban, try that again. Because I couldn't, nobody could hear anything.
May I attempt to raise my question again?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Question is this. Given the need to be virtual on Zoom for considerable time,
Right?
that the community, the residents of this town are going to have in any changes or whatever we end up with the ad valorem rate, is it totally out of the realm of possibility to try to do an outdoor meeting in the park, in the amphitheater? I'm just going to raise this so we've discussed.
No, I don't think so.
Well, the problem you have is the technology part. I can't move the whole computer system out there, and I don't know.
Well, I'm not advocating. I didn't bring it up because I thought we should do it.
Right.
But just to point out that we need to do, I know we're going to do everything we're required to do by getting information to town residents who have a computer, use a computer, can, get on to these sessions virtually. I'm just want to be sure we do everything we can to be sure that there'll be some people who won't do it because they either or don't they do.
Now, the first that residents are going to get
We
about
know
their,
from here.
and totally understand, and I agree with you 100%. They definitely need to be able to participate
This
in
morning, I
whatever
just
form
thought we
that
ought
may
to
be.
aware that
Lost the internet.
try to do it outside. We don't have the capacity to do it in our council chamber because, as Anita's pointed out to me, and I think everybody knows this on the council, you cannot limit the number of people who will come to a public hearing.
That's right.
You can't say we already have our 24. We even just looked at the possibility of asking to use Barrows Hall on the Penny Retirement campus. But they have a limit restriction based on their square footage. And although it would slightly increase the availability for the public, we'd face the same issue there, that we can't turn people away and then we'd be in violation of the safety standards. So I just thought it would be good to put this on the record that we need to do everything we can to make it available to people under the current restrictions. So any other council want to comment on this? I welcome your response. But I thought we ought to at least get this in our meeting as an issue coming down the pike at us in September.
I think it's an excellent point that you brought up, and it would help me if somebody asked me, whatever we end up, it would help me be able to provide an answer if anyone asked, why aren't we? So I appreciate your question and the response to it.
Okay, well, let's just keep that in mind. Anybody else want to, we can move on. I just thought I'd mention the fact that that will be an issue in September.
Yeah.
Okay. Anita, are we going to move into this capital projects review, or is this just for our information today?
Well, you know, most of this you're already aware of. This is updated from the last couple meetings we had. There's nothing new that has been added to it. Everything that from the last time, and that was January, at our last first quarterly meeting of 2020, everything's been updated since then, but there's been no new additions. The only thing about the capital projects I can point out to you is on the colored sheet, this colored sheet, the pink sections are things that we would like to accomplish in the new fiscal year of 2021. The items that are in blue are already in progress from this year, and everything else is open for discussion after that.
And if I could add that what you see in the pink that we talked about we'd like to do this year, that's why I stopped at every section as we was going through it to tell you and explain to you why that we would like to have these things for this year. So that's why I did it as we went through the budget. This just recaps it at the end.
Well, I want to comment appreciation for everybody that's worked on this for quite a while, especially to Bill Brower, who has been a significant help to us in putting information. It's my opinion, based on my previous work in administration. I wish I'd had a report as good as this to present to a couple of the workplaces that I was the administrator for, with the completeness of this project. So I think we need to be proud of it and use it diligently as we move ahead. Any other comments?
I concur.
Yay. Team.
Thank you. We appreciate, without all of the support, the town staff and myself would not do it. And I truly mean this here. I go to a lot of different meetings with other city managers and the new county manager. And they all ask me all the time, Mr. Cooper, how you do out there with your council? And I tell every one of them that I've got one of the best councils to work with, I think, of anybody. And even if we have disagreements, I still feel like that I have the full support, and you know, we don't hold anything against each other. So I greatly appreciate the whole team, the finance committee, and especially the council big time for all the support that they give us, because we wouldn't be able to do it if you didn't. Thank you so much.
Well, we thank staff. Okay, does that complete our business?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, is this doable for the council?
Well, Mr. Mayor,
I mean, this is what
time-
needs to be discussed. This was just the starting.
Go ahead, Mr. Andrews.
Discussion. Did we buy a new truck last year, Mr. Cooper?
No, we did not. You
We did,
remember
okay.
that we had a lot of people, you remember that story, and so we kind of backed off of it, but yeah.
The
So-
last new truck we bought was the dump truck in 2017.
Right.
The
Okay,
new garbage
what
truck.
was the second question, Mr. Andrews?
Oh, he's frozen.
I have a, while we're waiting on him, I would like to add that I think his point is well taken, because I too was confused and thought we had bought one for less than what we're asking. So I think
No.
it
Never
would be
got
important
approved.
to be sure.
It
It'll be
didn't get
important
approved.
that everyone knows that no, we did not buy the one we sort of approved last year
Right.
for
I-
people
we
who will
really,
buy one
really-
second.
And I really need to get this truck approved.
Well, it sounds like it's a better truck than the one that didn't happen. And it sounds like
Absolutely.
it will help us manage the town much better.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we just lost Mr. Andrews completely. He had some questions. Maybe he'll try to get back in here or call me or something. He left on his own. It's not that he got deleted, so it wasn't like that. You can't delete people.
Either committee members or council members, any other comments or questions? We've had an excellent meeting, but there's no need to not utilize. It's hard enough to get people together virtually. So if there's anything else people want to ask this morning about any part of this report, this proposal from staff, this would be the time to do it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the fact that our staff has brought home the water utility and put Penny Farms on the map now as the best water supply in the state, that speaks volumes for our staff, starting with the town manager, town clerk, and Wendy and everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Here,
That's
here,
a job well done.
Yay!
here, here.
Anybody else? Mr. Brower, you have anything?
Nope, not as of now.
Okay, fair
We
enough.
could-
See you, Bill.
Okay, he's going to wait about 5 minutes.
Uh,
10.
Maybe we should change our flag out there and say best water in the state or something.
Okay,
There
so
ought to be something painted on the side of the water tower that says, I agree with Vicky.
well, maybe we can do like 2020. Oh, Mr. Andrews is back. Maybe we can.
Yeah, drop me off.
I'm sorry, I didn't do it. I promise I didn't push any buttons or anything.
It's okay.
What I was getting, maybe we can do 2020 Florida Waters Best or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Something.
That'd be cool on the water tower. All right, Mr. Andrews, you got dropped. What was your
Mr. Cooper
question?
asked a part of the question of we didn't purchase a truck last year. So in reading the capital projects, this is going to replace the 1998 Ford Ranger. So Mr. Cooper, does that price include the boom that you had showed us the photo of for being able to lift pumps and everything? Does that all entail everything that the town needs for that truck?
Yes, sir. If I could get the 65, it will, because the truck is, you have to, like, you buy your chassis, then you buy the body, then you buy the crane. So, but if I could get the 65 that I'm asking for, it would be equipped and ready to go to work. Yes, sir.
Because you had mentioned racks and
A ladder rack to go up on top. I was thinking that we need up there to put some PVC. When we have a break and you're out in the field a lot, when we have a water break, we need to be able to go to one vehicle, jump in that vehicle, and go out there and fix that repair. Not run between the water tower and up here and looking for parts and looking for wrenches. But the answer to your question, I know it took me a long time to tell you that, but yes, it's with the crane. Yes, sir.
And everything you need as far as racks and everything else, that's all inclusive.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
If I
thank
could
you.
get the 65, as long as you don't try to cut me on that amount, I
No,
can
no,
get
no.
everything that we need for that truck.
All right, thank you very much.
That includes the labeling of the truck that it is Penny Farms.
Yes, ma'am.
That everybody sees how good it looks.
Anything else? Ms. Kimsey, you have anything else? Maybe she's left.
Oh, you muted
anybody
yourself. Unmute
So-
yourself, Miss Kimsey. No, you're good, Mr. Andrews. Miss Kimsey.
I just had a
muted.
question for the council and Mr. Mayor and Mr. Cooper's request. Being that this is a workshop, now we move forward to the next council meeting of making a vote for the truck, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it
Okay.
would be out of next fiscal year.
Budget's approved, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? If not, then I'll
wait.
entertain a motion to adjourn the
Before
workshop.
you adjourn, I just want to know what the next step is going to be. We are going to you're going to do, the finance committee is going to meet on the 10th of August to
Correct.
discuss what we
Correct.
learned here. And then we will have a town council quarterly workshop again on the 14th of August for the town council to have any, they can review this further and have any questions, or if they want to add things or change things, that's the time to discuss it there. And then we're moving the regular town council meeting to the 19th, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
correct.
I just wanted to confirm the next
Again,
step.
everyone, thank you all.
Move to
I
adjourn.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yay.
Just a quick question.
So
Anita,
moved.
will
Oh,
you
wait.
make-
Go ahead.
Anita,
Wait,
Yes.
Andrews.
will you make public notices for the change in the town council meeting throughout the town boards?
Yes, I have to. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. I'm so thankful you guys pointed
Absolutely.
that out.
Okay, I had a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
So
you.
long.
Thank you one more time, Anita, for getting us together
Oh, yeah.
in
Thank
this
you.
strange fashion.
We're moving along, absolutely. We're not gonna have a.
Lord, I gotta get that out. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay. Did she bring it back in here? I had to finish up a virtual meeting. Here it is. 3230 Lewis. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Is that, wait, no. The address?
Oh, I don't have a clue. I'm sure to pick it up. I haven't
All
been
right.
in the house yet.
Bring your checkbook in here for a minute. That's funny. You're re-roofing it?
Brady handles the paperwork. I just come pay for it.
Okay.
Sarah bought it.
Hang on.
Feels a little better in here.
I haven't made that. was hosting a meeting, and I've got to remember where all my stuff's at. When we're between two offices now, so. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give you these back, cause you're gonna need those next too. Just get my calculator, sorry. I know you've been patient.
No, I'm enjoying the AC.
Yeah, we got a mess over here right now. Whoa. Alright. I know it sounds like a lot. It's not what you think.
I was hoping some of those were subtractions.
No, it's my fingers not pushing the right button. I'm sorry. It's $167.44. The answer is no. What's the password? Now.
What's that? We'll go out this way, Anita, because they're in there.
Everything
One
cool.
second, I need you to sign here.
I just told me messed you up this morning, not getting him out there earlier. Just remind me about it. Cause I would've had him out there at 7 o'clock.
It worked out perfect.
Okay, good.
Because I wasn't ready for him anyway, so.
Okay.
It worked out.
Good, good, good.
Just need a copy of the book.
Ooh.
And you'll be good to go.
That all went pretty good.
You got all in.
I think it went good. It's all gonna, well, you got them stamped and everything, huh?
Sure. Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks for being so patient. I really
No problem.
appreciate it. That's you. You're good to go.
164230. This is Lewis right here in the front, right?
No, that's Clark. Lewis is the big one, down the middle. Next stop sign.
Next stop sign?
That's
Okay.
Lewis.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I really thought all of them was into it. I really thought all of them were supportive of it.
I think so too. I think it covered everybody.
Huh?
It covered everybody.
Absolutely. Did you like the way that I kind of
Yeah.
got it so you didn't miss anything? You could say, why didn't you say this or say that?
Yeah, you did good.
I said,
See?
we'll do it this way and everything explained in full detail. Was that good?
Yeah, and she asked me where the whole payroll was. Told her too.
But I would like to look at that thing that he's talking about, that not today, that WD something.
We lost connection, so you got 12 minutes of a YouTube meeting. The rest is recorded, don't get me wrong. But the video portion, Internet went. My internet goes in and out all the time.
But it's recorded.
It's recorded on my Zoom meeting and all of that. I need to smoke. I think Daryl needs a permit.
He can wait till you get done smoking.
Okay, come on.
But I thought that, they were really.
You guys better remember, you gotta put the music up. She stepped out first, so you got that. He probably would. But he'd be better off to let her enjoy it.
But he just stayed long enough to get the roll up, yeah.
What is the meaning of this? You just walk away, just finish your smoke. I'm gonna stay inside in the cool air condition. Do you have to go to start?
Y'all want anything from photos? No, Rachel. Heard?